evening, viewers from PostScript. I have an amazing author for you today. My name is Mike Marina, and I will be the host for your interview this evening. And with me, I have a very special author who spends the majority of her time in the fetal position. She is currently working on a bachelor's of English at Youngstown State University and is not quite sure if the world is real or if we are all Sims characters. She received the 2018 Hare Writing Award for Poetry, the Etruscan Prize for Poetry, and has been published in Fourth, Sycamore, Penguin Review, and Incan Voices. Viewers of PostScript, presented by West Street Review, I present to you guys Mallory Rader. Mallory, how's it going? Hey, yeah!
Thanks for having me.
Yo, thank you for agreeing to be here. Your poetry is incredible, and like I said, you have one of the best biographies I've ever read.
Thank you.
From an author.
It's all true.
Look, it's perfect. And it is a question. If you look at someone, you try to imagine the green diamond, like, is it there? Is it really there?
Is this all a simulation?
Right? Well, I did have a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind. I saw that you had studied in Taiwan. How was that experience? What did you do over there?
So that was actually an internship where I taught English as a second language to university students at Providence University. They are affiliated with Youngstown State University, where I graduated. So I went over there, stayed there for 3 weeks, and worked with the students on presenting in English and writing in English.
So it was more like writing in English as like a English composition course and not specifically like a poetry course?
Yeah, more so for English composition.
And did you enjoy being overseas? Like, did that shape your view on your own writing, let alone poetry or otherwise?
Oh yeah, it was amazing. And there was a class, actually, it was a grad school class that I sat in on where we talked about teaching kids English through poetry and how that's how we naturally learn the English language. So that was really interesting.
That is a really interesting idea of like us learning English through like things like nursery rhymes and songs.
Yeah.
That's a really cool concept.
Very natural way to learn.
Do you have, so I know you're currently in school. Do you have a favorite professor or favorite writing group that you work with?
I actually graduated last December.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I had a lot of favorite professors, though it's really hard for me to choose just one. But poetry-wise, I had a professor, Dr. Stephen Reese, who was absolutely incredible, taught me everything I know.
Oh, yeah? That's awesome. It's always good to have a good mentor, really and truly. So your poem on returning from war is the poem that we're going to be featuring in West Street Review. Was there something specific that made you want to write about the mental health issues that soldiers face? Do you have soldiers that are close to you? Like what brought about that particular piece of work?
I have a family member who went into the Marines, and it seemed as if his entire personality was sort of distorted and changed by the time that he returned, and it's something that he constantly struggles with.
I got you.
Yeah.
And so you just want to illustrate the journey and the struggles that your family member goes through. We don't have to put his name out there.
I have a really hard time writing about things that I haven't personally experienced or that I haven't seen someone else firsthand experience. It's always real life situations. So
I got you. That makes a lot of sense. What poems won you the Hare Writing Awards or the Etruscan Prize?
The Hare Writing Award was a collection of poems. I think I sent in 5 to 10. But the Etruscan Prize was my poem Burn, which is published in Penguin Review.
Gotcha. So as you've won these awards, but you're also writing about these very personal topics, did you find it hard to balance the writing that you had to do as part of your academic career and like getting your degree versus what you may have inherently wanted to write creatively? Did those two ever clash? And if they did, how did you work through that? Or if they didn't, how'd you combine the two? because I always feel like people look at academic writing and creative writing as almost as if they're at odds, and
Yeah.
I'm not too sure if that's true.
So for my creative writing classes, I was lucky enough to have professors that didn't really try to direct me to write in a certain way, one way or
Mhm.
another. I think the most restricting prompt I ever had was to write a sonnet, and that was just one particular prompt. Other than that, I had pretty free range in writing what I wanted to. But as far as academic papers go, my writing is always very flowery. A lot of my
Yeah.
professors have called it.
Right.
Um, but I was never taught that that was an issue, that I couldn't like use similes and metaphors to describe something in an academic setting. So I think I was just very lucky to be able to have the freedom that I did in writing with my professors.
Gotcha. That's actually pretty important, though, to be able to have. It's great to be in a space where you still have that mentor figure, but they're
Mhm.
letting you kind of do your thing, and they
They're
just kind of
letting you
guide you.
figure it out on your own.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Um, okay. So, final question, but I feel like the one that is most important. If you were indeed a Sims character, if you woke up and you saw that green diamond hanging over your head, what would you want to say to the person playing the game?
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Well, first I would want them to use a cheat code to give me more money. That would be really nice. Especially with
Yes.
student loans. Just
Let's
slip
be
me a
real.
good 50 grand and we'll call it
Right.
even.
Slide the
um,
check under the door. Don't say any names.
I also though I would want to move often, not
Mhm.
stay in the same place. I went on a vacation not that long ago and I quickly realized that I want to jump around, live in different cities. I want to live in different countries until I'm old. And then when I'm old, I want to live in a very rural area
I
and
like.
raise animals and have a bunch of plants and just bring life back into the world before
Yeah.
mine is gone. So I guess I would want my person in charge of my Sims character to move me around a lot, meet a lot of people, go a lot of places.
I love it. So, is traveling something that you really want to? Do you think would ever really affect your writing in any way?
Oh, absolutely. From so when I did the internship in Taiwan, I also went to China, Japan, and South Korea because they were all so close, very short
Yeah.
flights. And I wrote a lot of poems about the things that I experienced because it was shocking to me. I had never been out of the country before.
Gotcha.
So to see, and what was really, there's just universal things that everyone understands. And that was something that I didn't really realize before. I
Mhm.
also didn't realize that people don't care about Americans in the way that we think. We think that we're the center of the world and we're not.
Yes, I
Yes, very much
110%
so.
agree. And I agree. That is something that it's not, it's hard to explain to people who haven't been out of the country for an extended period of time. Personally, I was in Singapore and Thailand doing a study abroad.
Oh,
And,
cool.
but it's very true where, like, you say that you're American and people will be like, all right, cool. And you're like, but wait though.
But I'm American.
And it's at first you're like, wait, did y'all not hear me? But then you start questioning that. And I think that's very important though. That's so wise. I love it. I love it so much. Well, all right, Mallory, it's been a pleasure conversing with you, but do you believe it's now to get to the main reason why you're here? And personally, this is the section that I always look forward to. All right, viewers of PostScript, without any further ado, this is Mallory Rader with On Returning from War. Take it away, Mallory.
All right. On returning from war. The day he left for basic training, his face was sullen, sunken, a doom simmering his cheeks. He swirled a sponge around a bowl in a sink, silent, looking above at a fly that buzzed and battered by the kitchen's dim light. When he left, they only swarmed through the barracks, through his brain, refining, like maggots shuffling to the core of an apple. The flies stormed our house the day he left and only multiplied, seized our soundness and covered it in gunk. You cannot redirect the mind like the gurus say. You cannot dissipate years of training. Mistakes cannot be killed, not like flies.
Haunting and wonderful. Mallory, this has been an absolute treat. So, for our viewers of PostScript, if they want to find you anywhere else in this wide, crazy world of the internet we live in, what are the easiest ways to find you and your work? Go ahead and plug yourself.
So to find my work, it's actually, the easiest way is probably just to Google my name. That's the easiest way for it all to come up.
There's power in that. Google me. Say it.
It is kind of cool. It is cool.
Claim it. Yeah.
But that's the easiest way. I don't really, like, I showcase them on Facebook every now and again, but that's mostly for my family. Yeah. But yeah, that would be the easiest way, to just Google Mallory Rader. It pops up.
All right. I definitely will, and I'll be definitely telling my friends to Google you. So,
thank you so
Mallory,
much.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for your words of wisdom, and I hope you get some traveling in.
Thank you. I hope you do too.
Once we're allowed to, Lord, yeah. Once we're allowed to, yes.
Once we're allowed.
All right. Well, I look forward to talking with you again, and to the rest of the viewers of PostScript. This is Mike Marina, signing off.